Greetings all. Welcome back to our interview with Clarence Moyer. He was the gunner of Eagle 7, the T-26E3, filmed famously destroying that Panther in front of the Cologne Cathedral. If you missed part 1, click the link below. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and let Clarence entertain you for the next while.
So as time progressed, eventually you received your Pershing. Had your Sherman unit lost a lot of tanks by that point?
Oh yes. A lot of them were knocked out in the hedgerows, and well, they were no match for the Panzer. No match at all. Had to get a side shot in order to knock them out. You had to get a side shot.
But you did it. I mean, you were knocking out the Panzers anyway,
yeah.
Obviously because you were advancing.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you get introduced to Pershing, to the M26, or T-26, I guess it was then?
Yeah, T-26. Well, they took us to a firing range, and they had the Pershing there. They said we were going to demonstrate for the officers. They were all lined up, news people and officers. Anyway, we had bore-sighted the gun in on a church steeple way out in the distance. That way our shell never crossed. But anyway, we got into the tank, and I don't know who it was, but announcing to the people that there's a farmhouse down there with the chimney sticking up. We're going to have to shoot the chimney off. I think that was 1,000 yards or 1,200 yards or so. We estimated the range. I pulled the trigger, fired, the chimney was gone. So they yelled and carried on. And they said, now for our next target, there's another home up there sitting on the hill about 1,500 yards away. And this one had just the top of a chimney sticking up from the back side of the roof. It was peak roof, and it was on the back side. And on the other side was a full chimney. So we fired. They said, we're going to attempt that big chimney sticking up there. We fired. That flew away. Then they said, now for our final shot, we're going to try and get that little tip of a chimney that's sticking up over on the other side. Well, I brought the gun around. I fired, and a big explosion, and that red brick flew all over the place. We knocked the chimney right off.
What was the conversation in the tank? All right, Clarence, I want you to shoot that chimney. You what?
Yeah, way out there. But anyway, everybody was happy when we got out of the tank. They were all happy. But on our first shot, they all had crowded up close, and we fired the gun. It knocked them on the ground. The muzzle brake threw everything back there, and it knocked the photographers first, and all the news people that got knocked down.
You get off the truck or the Jeep or wherever you got to this firing range, and they point you at this tank. What's your first thought?
I looked at the gun, and oh boy, that's great. Big gun.
Most people seem to think that they didn't worry so much about the armor on the M4, but they wanted a better gun. They always wanted a better gun on the M4. Was that your opinion as well?
Yes. Although the armor wasn't sufficient either on the M4s. Like the story was that in the hedgerows, a German fired into the front of one Sherman, out the back, and the next tank in line went into him and knocked him out too. So we need a lot more armor in the front too.
And you felt that T-26 gave you that armor?
It was more so. We had more there, but we made a shelf, and we had put sandbags and stuff in the front there. Like for the Panzerfaust, so that they hit the sandbags and blow up outside the tank.
The M4 had a stabilizer, but T-26 did not. Did you miss that?
I thought we had some sort of a stabilizer on there. I'm not certain. I don't know.
No, T-26, you just had the handle on the left side, the hydraulic handle.
Yeah.
No, obviously you didn't miss it then.
Anyway, we had pistol grip with the top.
The electric trigger.
Yeah. And the other one for the machine gun.
Was it more comfortable than the M4?
About the same, I guess. I still use my board and my sleeping bag. We got a sleeping bag in the bulge. Other times we only had one layer of blanket, but we got the sleeping bags. It was so cold. And we had to be on an outpost, but I remember I crawled in, I left my shoes, everything on, crawled into the bag, and laid back, put my feet up over the tubes again. But during the nighttime, it warmed up a little bit. It's smoky. The assistant driver used to have that heater. He was always putting that on his feet. And he was the first one to go to the medics for frostbite. But they just warm them up and send them back because they didn't have too many replacements.
All right, so you got in the back of the T-26. There's a Ford engine, a Ford V8, and a new transmission. How did you find that engine compared to the ones that you were used to?
It worked very well for us. We also had the automatic transmission in there too. You just push it forward, go forward, and pull it back, go back. And that saved us that later on at Blatzheim.
So when you're using the T-26 in your platoon, would they put it up front so that the armor would take the hit, or would they keep it towards the back to keep it alive?
Tank commander was a platoon sergeant, and we would always lead the attack. And more so after we got the bigger gun, we were up there all the time.
Did you feel that was fair?
I always said it was the biggest gun and the best tank, the new tank. I felt it should be up at the front. It shouldn't be tail and back.
All right, so the first time you took T-26 into battle was when? And you named it as well, Eagle 7, right?
Yeah.
Did you paint another eagle on the side?
Yeah, oh, yes.
So the first time you took it into battle was when?
That was near the Black Forest. We were right at the edge of the Black Forest, where we first took it into battle. There was a town, I don't remember the name of the town, but the Germans had a trap set up there, and we were on the hillside overlooking, and we had the orders we were to attack them. And this High Pockets, my lieutenant, he got on the interphone or on the radio with the captain, and he said, "Captain, in all good faith, I'm sorry, but I must refuse your order." He said, "I cannot lead my men down into that town because I can see it's a trap down in there." The next morning he was gone. He never came back. I used to make fun of him because he gave me a hard time, and used to make fun of him. But after the war, I got Pecos got a sheet on him, and he turned out he had 2 nervous breakdowns, and he's in the back, and then back in the battle again. But after the second one, and he never came back.
Do you think he was right to refuse that order?
I do. I think he knew we were going to get slaughtered down in there, and he just didn't want to take us down there.
So the first time that you shot the 90 millimeter against the enemy, what was that?
By that time was on the Cologne Plain. We were supposed to take the town of Blatzheim, and first they sent 6 light tanks out to attack, and the German gunners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they knocked them all out right away. And then they started us out. And so they stopped us and backed us up again. And finally we got the word to go again. It was a slaughter there. We were fortunate with the automatic transmission because we go and back up quickly and keep changing positions. But the Shermans were slower. But I recall one tank up on the right of us and off to the right of us. I was looking out the sight and I saw they got hit. And they came flying out of there. A couple of them were injured, but the gunner was, his name is Hubert C. Foster. He had big paddle feet. He was a skinny guy with real big feet. He came out of that tank and he was like running through the air. I had a laugh, no matter how serious it was, I had a laugh. But his tank commander was Captain, or Sergeant Campbell. And he lived in the same town. He was from the same town as Foster. And he promised Foster's mother that he would take care of her son all the way through. Which he did take pretty good care of him. He always looked out for him. But that was funny. Anyway, but they knocked them out, and we kept moving front, back, over the side. All of a sudden, I got the idea. I couldn't find where the gun shells were coming from. And I thought, well, I'm going to fire phosphorus, smoke shells. I fired a couple of them along the roadway and over to the right there's trees and bushes over in there. But it covered the whole area. But I never realized that when the phosphorus explodes, the pieces fly all around and they're burning. If they had hit you, it burns right into the bone. But I found then that they feared the phosphorus shell more than any of our other shells. The Germans were very worried about the phosphorus shell. But it saved us, I know. After I fired phosphorus, there was no more fire coming at us from up there.
Do you know, or do you think you know, why your crew got the T-26 out of all the other crews in the company?
I question that. Belton Cooper wrote the book Death Traps. And he was an ordnance officer. And I figured, well, he would know why we got it. So I asked him, why pick us? Why did they give us that tank? He said, well, in our meeting, we all felt you had the best crew, and we thought the best tank should go to the best crew. And so eventually we got the tank.
I may be mixing you up with another T-26, but was there an incident where your Pershing broke down and the rest of your company went forward into a battle and got hammered, or was that a different tank?
Yes. And that was at Juvigny, near Mortagne. Tainsil set it up in the hill, and it was an up and down battle there. First they would control it, then our people would fight up there, and we control it. And we, with the tanks, we were on the outskirts of a town called Javigny, and we pulled in a side of a large fence and a barn, and we were taking turns eating, and came back out. I was standing beside the tank, and a young infantryman was standing there. Holy heck, he should be back in school someplace. He's such a young guy. And he told me then that their company had 4 complete turnovers of men by the time we got to near Mortain there. And finally I said to him, well, I better get back in because I'm supposed to be on the gun. And I crawl over. I used to step on the bogey wheel and then up on the track and then crawl up and in. And I went up there, and when I got to the top, just starting in, there was a big explosion. And my lights went out. I was knocked out down on the floor. But our tank, while we were hit with that shell, I was out of it for quite a while. But I knew we had started the tank and we could move it because we were going to be the lead tank the next day. And surely we would have got killed because I was in no condition to do anything. Following morning, we got up early and we're ready to go. And we pull it in gear and started up and got halfway up the hill and didn't have enough power to get up over the top. So they told us to pull off to the side, which we did. We got off the main part. And the rest of them went over the hill and out to the right. And they got slaughtered out there. It probably saved my life to get knocked out down there.
Do you know why you had no power? Was it because of the shell?
They replaced the whole engine. They pulled the engine out and replaced the whole engine. But we fell behind then. But those guys, I found out afterward, the Germans were camouflaged and they came in the open field thinking they were going to have an easy time of it. And all of a sudden the Germans opened up, and I know my friend Noel Prince, they used to call him Greyhound, because he drove a Greyhound bus in civilian life. Anyway, his tank got hit. And it caught fire. Prince himself, he ran and hid in a barn. And he told me he could see out through the cracks in the barn board, the Germans going up and down there, up and down. And he thought he's going to be safe there. He's going to crawl under the straw and he'll be safe. But anyway, finally, they came in looking for him, and they found him under there. He was captured and gone to a hospital, a German hospital. They treated him, and the nurse used to come in and massage him. She said she was wonderful. She treated me wonderful. But he said that German doctor, he came in there and he spoke German all the time. And he said, I didn't understand a word he was saying. But he said, I was in there 30 days I think he had pneumonia or something, and he was very sick. But he said that nurse took care of me. She saved my life. But he said that son of a gun, the very last day he came in there, he said to me, "Mr. Prince, I'm glad you're going home, and I hope you have a happy life ahead of you." He said that son of a gun could speak English better than I, and he didn't talk to me the whole month.
At this junction, we are going to take another break. Keep an eye out on this channel for the final installment of the interview.